Hello, everybody. My name is Sergio Nares.
And Linda Krosno, and we are presenting our lesson plan, Designing Solar Cells Using Reaction Rates. The link to this slideshow presentation, which has hyperlinked throughout, so you can click on images to get to the lesson plan itself, will be in the comment or descriptors section. So the overall objective of this lesson plan is that students will learn about the effects of reaction rates to design a solar cell that will output the most energy as measured by a multimeter. To begin with, the teacher is going to engage the students doing a demo, and students are going to fill out the handout that you see on the right-hand side with their noticing and wonder. For the first part, they are going to do a flame test. There's a classic demonstration with a Bunsen burner, but I do know that teachers don't have access to Bunsen burners, so there are ways to do the flame test without a Bunsen burner with household items. So if you click on the slideshow and then you click the link within that slideshow that you see on the screen, it will take you to different ways of instructions to do the flame test. And then the second one is burning the magnesium ribbon, which you can get off of Amazon. After the students see the observation, the demonstration from the teacher and write down their observation, they themselves are going to do a couple of mini stations. These mini stations are using household items that you can get from the grocery store or from Amazon easily. Students will collect and analyze data to start seeing patterns. So you see they have to graph on the right-hand side, they do have to graph, and they can see patterns. And from this lab, they are going to be able to start seeing the effects, different effects on reaction rate depending on particle size, temperature, using catalyst, and concentration.
So, the Explorer is the design of a solar cell, and the students will learn about different components that make this a success. They're using berry juice and they're using a few other chemicals to generate a circuit. So, this is a general schematic of what they're basically designing at the microscopic level. Here, there's a resource. It's a Google slide presentation that goes over different components of the lab so they can understand what a dye-sensitized solar cell is. They can understand the cross-cutting concepts involved in this lesson. They can learn how to do a flowchart using the procedures for this lab, and then post-lab questions that will help them think critically about the lab that they are performing. There's an instructional video here that shows the teacher how to buy the materials, what materials they're going to need. It also goes over how to make the titanium dioxide solution, how to use the multimeter, and just going over the procedures that students will be doing. And as well as tricks and tips on how to make sure that students are not making commonly made mistakes during the lab.
The video itself is 44 minutes long. Sergio broke it down to different sections within the lesson plan, so you can forward to the timestamp of whatever you need for your lesson. So don't watch the entire video, it's really long. Look at the lesson plan and go to the timestamp where you need to. So this is where students start understanding and learning about how different factors affect chemical reaction. And this is a TED Ed video. They're going to fill out the worksheet to the right, and it relates chemical reactions to being in high school and getting a date. So it's a fun little analogy video for students to kind of understand factors to affect reaction rates.
And then going back to the solar cell, um, it's also something that is designed for physics and biology. So it can be tied back to this idea of photosynthesis. It could be tied to this idea of circuits. So it's very multidisciplinary, and it is definitely something that can um, spark thinking across different disciplines. For the Explain 2, it builds off of the Explain 1 here. It shows students the requirements for a chemical reaction to occur. So the video is just showing an analogy of what is required for a successful clapping in a synchronous way amongst all the students. So this is something that can be done as a whole class, but it shows you that chemical reactions do have requirements of orientation, having a sufficient energy for a collision to occur. So basically showing them the idea behind collision theory.
In the elaborate section, they are going to use all the different parts of the 5E that they have learned so far to create a model. There are required vocabulary that they will have to use within their model, and then optional vocabulary. For our teachers and students that struggle with doing a model, there is extra scaffolding. We provide the different images that students can go ahead and cut out and use glue into the model, but they still have to use the arrows and labels to help explain. For the evaluate, students are going to create one slide one slide only of a CER, claim, evidence, and reasoning. They are also going to present 1 minute max. Again, it is dependent on your class. In our classroom, Sergio in my classroom, we do this. We have students present 1 minute and they do fine. They are concise, they explain what they need to explain, and it's not too much. It's not reading off of slides.
And then last but not least, the extent part, we can relate reaction rates to climate change. We can relate it to a human impact on our environment. And one way to do that is by looking at renewable and non-renewable resources. This is a great resource right here, World 101, that provides articles on this idea of how energy is related to our real world, and how it's related to greenhouse gases. The idea here is to research solutions to this global challenge that will enable them to participate in argumentation. So that would be a nice extent for this lesson plan.
Thank you for watching our presentation. I know we went really fast, but please do look at our lesson plan itself for more details. And there's a link throughout the presentation or the lesson plan, which is found in the comment or description.